Hello, and thank you for tuning in to hear another article read for the Love Exquisite Magazine. We are reading from, well, I am reading from, I should say, the section called For the Love of Relationships, and it's written in the April 2022 edition of the Love Exquisite Magazine. And the article is titled Work Life Balance. So it's something that a lot of people struggle with in life, finding that balance. Oftentimes you can engulf yourself in work, 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 that you don't live life, 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 life. So you have to find a balance. There's a time for work and there's a time for play and there's a time for family. So you have to be able to get that at that happy balance. So here is the article, Work-Life Balance. Most of us are taught that if we want anything in life, we have to work hard for it. Therefore, most of us are accustomed to working extremely hard. If we have families, we want to make sure that we can provide the necessities that the family need. If we struggled financially in our younger years, we tend to not want to ever struggle again as we get older. So we work harder and harder and harder in effort to avoid the financial struggle, struggling financially. We can get so focused on working hard that we neglect other family and personal obligations. We overwhelm ourselves with work so much that we don't have the time or energy that is required in a relationship. We might think that working hard and providing for the family is the best thing for the relationship. However, I challenge you to ask your mate right now, would they rather have your time or your money? And I guarantee you that most will say they'd rather have your time, not your money. They'd rather have your time. That's something, again, in an article I said before, in an article titled Time, you cannot get that back. You can make money at any time, but you cannot get time back. So time is so valuable that you have to find that balance. You have to fit it in. When you're in a relationship, you have to let the person know you're just as important to me as my job, as my work ethic. My relationship is just as important to me as my job. So it is important to have the work-life balance. So when you do not have a work-life balance, many relationships suffer as a result. So you might hear somebody say, oh, you work too much. You put into, oh, you want to work again? Or when do you ever have time for me? So those are red flags that you want to pay attention to, because that person is actually crying out for your time. They're not nagging you. They're saying, I want to spend more time with you. I miss you and I want to spend more time with you. That's what that means. So you may think that you're doing a good thing or the right thing by being a provider. And the fact is that you are. However, if you only are a provider and you are lacking in some of the other areas that is required for your relationship to work, and time is definitely one of those requirements, you have to get the work life balance. You have to get a work life balance. If your mate complains about how much time you're spending at work and you're not spending enough time with them because you're always working, it is past time, because people don't usually say it in the beginning. It's when it constantly happens over time. So it is past time when they say something. They've already been thinking it. So again, it's past time for you to think about how to create that work-life balance. You got to fit them in your life if you want them in your life. You have to fit them in your life and let them know that they're just as important to you as your work. So if you truly love your mate and you want your relationship to work, you have to prioritize your mate's needs just like you prioritize work. Having a work life balance is not only about your mate, it is also about you as well. You need time for you. You need time for yourself. You need time to yourself. You need time to mentally decompress. You need time to relax. You need time to take care of your own needs. And when you don't have a work-life balance, you will eventually burn out and suffer from exhaustion from the demands of the job as well as from the needs of the relationship, because they'll be competing for your time and attention when you are overworking yourself. You have to come up for air and live. You work, you live, you play, you live, you work. It has to be a combination of both, not one outweighing the other. So, for bosses out there, you have to realize that your employees are more productive and they make fewer mistakes when they are not overwhelmed and when they have the proper adequate support staff as well. So, employees, you get vacation, you get personal days for a reason. It's time that you need to use when you need to use it so that you can decompress, so that you can make time for you. There's nothing wrong with hard work, but there is something. There's nothing wrong with hard work, but there is something wrong with overworking yourself. Even God took a break. A Sunday on the Sabbath, or whatever you want to say the Sabbath is, even God took a break. So who are you? You're better than God that you don't need a break? If God needed a break, you do too. It's the only way to stay healthy and to keep your relationship healthy. You need to have a work-life balance. So figure out how you have to fit them in. If they mean that much to you, you can't just pop in and out of their lives. You can't just give them money and think that, okay, I'm taking care of all the bills. What's the problem? They don't want your money. They want your time. That is important. That is the article titled Work-Life Balance in the For the Love of Relationships section of the April 2022 edition of the Love Exquisite Magazine. I am Lynette. You can get the magazine for free at loveexquisite.com. Work-life balance. So work on it. It's not always easy, especially if you are living in a household where you're the breadwinner and the person is maybe a stay-home mother or father, and all the weight of the bills are on you. It may be harder to do than I mentioned, but then that's where you need to communicate to your spouse or your significant other and say, I need some help. And that help means I can't be the only breadwinner in the house. I need you to contribute so that I can give you that time that you are looking for. So you have to make sure that you're making the right decisions based on your own personal life experiences and what is applicable to you. Thank you for listening.